The placard on table 14 read Miscellaneous Guests in elegant calligraphy. Not friends of the bride, or extended family. Just miscellaneous. I stood in the hotel ballroom entrance, watching my cousin Vanessa's wedding reception take shape. Crystal chandeliers, ice sculptures, a 12-piece orchestra. The kind of event that made society magazines. Skye. My Aunt Caroline materialized beside me, champagne in hand. Oh good, you're here. There was confusion about your +1 situation. You came alone, correct? I'd spent 3 days at UN headquarters coordinating security protocols for an international summit. I'd taken a red-eye to make this wedding. Correct. Perfect. Table 14 will work beautifully. It's near the bar. She lowered her voice. Just between us, we needed to fill some seats. Vanessa's guest list was ambitious, and not everyone could make it. You understand. Table filler. That's what I was. My mother found me next. Skye, your hair. She reached up. I pulled back. I'm just saying, Vanessa hired professional photographers. Try to look presentable. I look fine, Mom. You look tired. When was the last time you took a vacation? All this traveling for work can't be healthy. I tried explaining my job once. International security consultant specializing in diplomatic protection. I'd coordinated security for 3 G20 summits, advised on protection details for visiting heads of state, and currently served as lead consultant for the State Department's Diplomatic Security Division. My mother had glazed over after security, and asked if that meant I was like a bodyguard. Close enough, I'd said, and stopped trying. My uncle Richard joined us. Still doing that security guard thing? Good for you. Honest work. Vanessa swept past in her wedding gown. Skye. You made it. Sorry about the seating. We had so many important guests to accommodate. I knew exactly how it was. Vanessa had landed her dream job, assistant to a prominent venture capitalist. She'd met her husband Brandon at a networking event. Their entire relationship had been one long social climb, and this wedding was the pinnacle. Except the family members they were obligated to invite. Those went at table 14. The reception looks beautiful. Doesn't it? Brandon's parents spared no expense. We've got 2 state representatives, a federal judge, and, she whispered excitedly, there's even a diplomat coming. An actual diplomat at my wedding. My phone buzzed. Ambassador Chin, running 10 minutes late. Security detail had traffic. See you soon. I'd worked with Ambassador Chin on 4 occasions, most recently coordinating his protection during sensitive negotiations in Geneva. When he'd heard about my family wedding, he'd said, maybe I'll stop by and say hello. Been too long since we caught up. I hadn't mentioned that to anyone. My family had no idea what I actually did. That's exciting, I told Vanessa. Which diplomat? Ambassador Chin? Some friend of Brandon's father. Apparently very important. We had to rearrange seating to accommodate his security requirements. Such a production. But worth it for photos. I smiled and said nothing. I found table 14 in the far corner, partially hidden behind a decorative column. My tablemates, Brandon's college friend fresh from a breakup, an elderly neighbor, a confused couple, and 2 of Vanessa's co-workers. At least we're near the bar, one co-worker muttered. My phone buzzed. Ambassador Chin, just arrived. Where are you seated? I texted back my table number and waited. Build up. Ambassador Chin entered with his security detail, 3 State Department agents in dark suits. He was a small man in his 60s, wearing a perfectly tailored tuxedo, and he commanded attention instantly. The room noticed. Conversations paused. Heads turned. My uncle Richard rushed over. Ambassador Chin. Richard Morrison, father of the bride. We're so honored. Lovely to be here. The ambassador shook his hand politely, but his eyes scanned the room. Looking for me. Our eyes met across the ballroom. His face lit up. He excused himself and headed directly toward table 14. Every eye followed him. My tablemates froze. Is he coming over here? Skye. Ambassador Chin arrived, arms outstretched. There you are. I was beginning to think you'd given me the wrong table number as a joke. I stood, accepting his hug. Ambassador. Thank you for coming. Wouldn't miss it. Though I'm surprised they put you back here. He glanced at the placard. Miscellaneous guests? Really? The table went silent. My Uncle Richard hovered nearby, confused. My mother approached. Ambassador, this is my mother Patricia and my Uncle Richard. Vanessa's father. A pleasure. He shook their hands. Skye, I need to steal you for a moment. There's someone I want you to meet. He guided me toward the head table, security detail maintaining perimeter. The entire room watched. Vanessa stood near her table, stunned. Brandon beside her, equally confused. Ambassador Chen, we're so glad you could make it. Thank you for accommodating my late arrival. I actually came to see Skye. We've worked together extensively over the past few years. She's one of the finest security consultants in the diplomatic corps. Vanessa's smile froze. Security consultant? Oh yes. Skye coordinates protection for international summits, advises on diplomatic security protocols, manages threat assessments for visiting dignitaries. He looked at me warmly. She saved my life at least twice. Once in Brussels, once in Singapore. Brilliant woman. My mother made a small sound. Skye, you said you worked in security? I do. But we thought you were a security guard. At buildings. Ambassador Chen laughed. Security guard? Skye has clearance levels most people don't know exist. She briefs the Secretary of State. She's consulted on protection details for 3 different presidents. Brandon's father materialized. Thomas Westbrook, the venture capitalist who'd funded half the wedding. Ambassador Chen, I wanted to introduce you to some people. In a moment, Thomas. First, I need to discuss something with Skye. There's a situation developing with the upcoming summit in Geneva. I need her expertise. He pulled out his phone, showing me a message marked urgent. A potential security breach, threat assessment needed, my input requested within 24 hours. I'll handle it tonight, I said quietly. After the reception. You're sure? I know it's family time. I'm sure. We discussed logistics for 2 minutes. Threat vectors. Diplomatic immunity protocols. Security perimeters. Counter-surveillance measures. When we finished, Ambassador Chen looked at my family with amusement. You really don't know what she does, do you? My Uncle Richard cleared his throat. We knew she traveled a lot. We just didn't realize that she's one of the most respected security consultants in international diplomacy, that heads of state specifically request her for sensitive assignments, that she's currently coordinating security for a summit involving 12 world leaders. Vanessa had gone pale. But she's at table 14. We put her with the miscellaneous guests. You put her where? The ambassador's tone sharpened. You seated one of the most accomplished women in diplomatic security at a table marked miscellaneous? We didn't know, my mother said weakly. Did you ever ask? He looked around at my family. Has anyone here ever asked Skye what she actually does? Silence. His phone buzzed. The German foreign minister just arrived. He's asking for you, wants to discuss Munich security protocols. I'll come say hello. Bring your things. You're sitting at the diplomatic table. I'm not leaving you in the miscellaneous section. Revelation. Ambassador Chen's security detail escorted us to table 1. The German foreign minister, Klaus Hoffmann, stood when he saw me. Ms. Morrison. What a pleasant surprise. I didn't know you'd be here. Minister. This is my cousin's wedding. I'm just a guest. Just a guest? The woman who redesigned Munich's entire diplomatic security protocol? You are never just anything. He turned to the table. Everyone, this is Skye Morrison. She is the reason the Munich conference last year had 0 security incidents. Brilliant strategist. The table erupted in introductions. A federal judge I'd briefed. A state representative I'd consulted for. A CEO whose company I'd advised on executive protection. People who knew exactly who I was. My family watched from their tables, stunned. Vanessa approached, composure cracking. Skye, I had no idea you were so important. Why didn't you say something? I tried. At Christmas I mentioned coordinating a G20 summit. You changed the subject to wedding flowers. At Easter I talked about the State Department. Mom asked when I was settling down. My mother flinched. Ambassador Chen showed photos on his phone. This is Skye in Geneva. This is Brussels. She identified a threat before anyone else knew there was a problem. And Singapore. She prevented what could have been a major diplomatic incident. Brandon's father studied me with new interest. Ms. Morrison, my company is expanding internationally. We could use your expertise. Would you be interested in consulting? I'm fairly booked through next year, but I can have my assistant send you availability. You have an assistant? 3. And a team of 12 analysts. We run a private security consulting firm specializing in diplomatic protection. Vanessa's face was red. You own a company? How did we not know this? You never asked. None of you did. The foreign minister raised his glass. A toast. To Skye Morrison, who keeps world leaders safe. Without her, diplomacy would be considerably more dangerous. The diplomatic table raised glasses. Then the federal judge stood. Then the state representative. One by one, important guests stood and toasted. To me, the miscellaneous guest. My family remained seated, shell-shocked. Vanessa pulled me aside. I'm so embarrassed. If I'd known. If you'd known I was important, you would have treated me differently? That's worse, Vanessa. That's not fair. Isn't it? You called me a table filler. You seated me with strangers because I wasn't impressive enough. You've spent 6 months bragging about this wedding but couldn't ask about my life even once. Tears filled her eyes. Can you forgive me? Eventually. But not today. Resolution. The reception transformed. What had been Vanessa's perfect society wedding became an impromptu networking event centered around me. Diplomats, politicians, and business leaders discovered someone actually worth talking to. The foreign minister pulled me aside. The Geneva summit. I heard there are security concerns. Your assessment. We spent 20 minutes discussing threat protocols while my family watched, finally understanding the cousin they'd dismissed was operating on a different level. My Uncle Richard approached. Skye, I owe you an apology. We've been treating you like you were unsuccessful. You treated me like I was nobody. Because I didn't brag. Because I didn't need your validation. Can we start over? I'd like to know about your work. See. But Uncle Richard, I'm tired of proving myself to people who should have believed in me from the start. My mother came next, mascara smudged. I'm so proud of you. Why didn't you tell me? I did tell you, Mom. You weren't listening. You were too busy being disappointed I wasn't married with kids. Vanessa found me as dancing started. Everyone's talking about you instead of my wedding. Is that my fault? No. It's mine. I didn't value you. I was too focused on impressing Brandon's family. She took a shaky breath. I put you at the miscellaneous table. My own cousin. I know. Can you ever forgive me? Ask me again in 6 months. After you've actually tried to know me. Ambassador Chen prepared to leave. Walk me out. At the entrance he said, you handled that well. Not everyone could maintain composure when their family publicly realizes they've been underestimating them. Part of the job, Ambassador. It is indeed. The Geneva summit. I'm serious about needing you there. I'll be there. I never miss a summit. He left and I returned to find the reception winding down. The damage to Vanessa's perfect wedding was permanent. It would be remembered as the wedding where the miscellaneous guest turned out to be more important than everyone else. Thomas Westbrook cornered me. Ms. Morrison, I'm serious about that consulting offer. Name your price. I handed him my card. Have your people call my people. His eyes widened at the credentials listed. You're not even going to negotiate? Mr. Westbrook, I just spent 3 days coordinating security for a UN summit. Next week I'll be in Geneva ensuring 12 world leaders don't get assassinated. I don't negotiate because I don't need to. I left at 11. My phone buzzed. My assistant. The Geneva brief is ready. Also 3 new client inquiries from tonight. Including one from a German foreign minister? I smiled. Handle routine inquiries. I'll call the minister tomorrow. And clear my schedule for 48 hours. I have a security assessment to complete. Vanessa, I'm so sorry. You deserved better. I'll do better. My mother, your father and I want to learn about your work. Really learn. Dinner next week? We'll listen this time. I sat in my car looking back at the hotel. I'd spent years being underestimated. Years being dismissed as the unsuccessful cousin who traveled too much. Tonight they'd learn the truth. I wasn't unsuccessful. I was just successful in ways they'd never bothered to understand. and I'd never be seated at the miscellaneous table again. The next morning I woke to 17 missed calls. My mother, Vanessa, my uncle Richard, even Brandon's father Thomas Westbrook. I ignored them all and opened my laptop. The Geneva security brief required my full attention. 12 world leaders, 43 diplomats, 200 security personnel to coordinate. This was what mattered. Not family drama. Not wedding seating charts. My phone rang again. Ambassador Chin. Ambassador. Skye. I apologize for last night. I didn't mean to disrupt your cousin's wedding quite so dramatically. You didn't disrupt anything. You just revealed what was already true. Still, family is complicated. I know that. He paused. The foreign minister wants you in Geneva 3 days early. He's concerned about the venue security. Can you make it? I'll be there. Good. Because honestly, I don't trust anyone else with this. You're the best, Skye. Don't let your family's blindness make you forget that. After we hung up, I finally checked the messages. My mother's voicemails progressed from apologetic to desperate. Vanessa's texts were long paragraphs of regret. Uncle Richard wanted to make things right. Only one message made me pause. From my father, who'd been silent throughout the entire wedding. Your mother showed me your credentials. I had no idea. I'm sorry we never asked. I'm sorry we never saw you. Can we try again? I stared at those words for a long time. Then I booked my flight to Geneva and got back to work. Family could wait. The world needed protecting first. And maybe, just maybe, when I returned they'd finally be ready to see me for who I actually was.